Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Gumshoe Gamer Podcast, or, I don't know, the podcast, as I sometimes just refer it as, because, you know, it's a pretty long title and all that. My name is Ethan, or Gumshoe, or whatever, and, yeah, it's February 2021. How did that happen? It's like, it feels like it should be... I don't know, like March already. That's how the amount of stuff that's happened. But anyway, we have a guest. It's Dylan. Dylan's back.
Hey everybody, glad to be back yet again. Yo, how you go? How's it doing?
Oh yeah. Well, how's it doing for you? Is more like I should say, because it's been a bit since you've been last on.
Yes. I've been doing good. As of late, still working on the YouTube channel. I think since last time, I think I finished college. Has it been that long? Oh my god.
Oh no, yeah, it has. It's been a bit for sure.
Yeah, so I finished college, and so I've been working on like my own like personal creative projects more, including my YouTube channel, which I've been lately. The last few weeks, I've started streaming every Friday on. So I guess if you want to catch that, you can see Dylan the Night Owl on YouTube. And yeah, I got lots of videos I'm currently working on. Probably got a couple new ones coming out.
Yeah, because, well, I've at least the most recent, your most recent biggest project that you finished right now was the AMV one.
Yes, that was my latest one, and I was pretty proud of that one. Basically, if you guys, I'm sure you've heard of AMV, anime music videos.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And if you haven't, you might as well, do a quick Google, or just watch his video after this. It's a very, very good wrap up of things that I didn't even know.
Yeah, thank you. I tried to do a good like if you'd never heard of AMVs, basically you could get a good taste of what a bunch of them are. YouTube did not like this video, which is funny because it was like lots of music being used, as it turns out. So
wow, man, who knew music was part of a music video?
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure I was like, I don't know, show the good representation of all the different like popular AMVs and like the different like art forms and styles of them, for lack of a better term. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. It was a lot of fun to make.
You actually reminded me of AMV Hell, because that's like something that I completely forgot about. And oh yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't around on the internet that much when AMV Hell was new. I think when I actually watched like the first one, the fourth one was out. So kind of late. But yeah, I was like, wow, I remember watching these, and it's brought back teenage me just on the internet. I was like, oh geez, I really spent a lot of time with this, didn't I?
Yeah, it's true. Basically same thing for me. Like, I guess I have this. It's weird. It feels like the inspiration for a lot of my videos tends to come from. I remember watching this thing and then going down like a rabbit hole of different things connected to that thing. And so it actually started off. The original video was just going to be, does anyone remember AMV Hell? But then I thought, well, I could also talk about other old AMVs I remember, and it just kind of sprawled off into like a whole history of AMVs and stuff like that after a while. So, yeah.
Yeah. And about, as you all know, the most prolific AMV is the Sonic Gangster's Paradise. It predicted the future.
Yes, it did. It certainly did.
Well, and anyway, outside of like making videos and everything, have you been able to play any games?
Yes. So, I finally have been able to start playing games more because that was something I really severely did not do very often last year, I feel like, except for like the occasional thing. Right now, I mean, I am replaying some stuff like Crash Bandicoot and Fantasy Star. Crash is for I specifically play that for some footage for an upcoming video. Um, and Fantasy Star was kind of like I at some point want to make videos on that. Not right now, but it just been so long since I played them. I thought it'd be kind of fun to play in the background while doing some other stuff. Um,
Fantasy Star is a series that I have been avoiding, but that's mainly because I don't know where I should start.
so Fantasy Star is one of those interesting. So like there, I feel like there's a good cutoff to know for anyone who doesn't know the end with Fantasy Star. The first 4 games are like their own thing.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I didn't. I thought it. Wait. I thought Fantasy Star was like a Final Fantasy situation where like each of them was their own separate contained. But are they like a set?
so Fantasy Star 1 through 4, they have their own sets of characters, but unlike Final Fantasy, they are actually all connected in a larger narrative.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
it was actually kind of the first of its kind in that regard. Um, so it's pretty innovative, I suppose you could say for back then. Back on like the first one was on the Master System, then the other 3 are on Genesis. After that cutoff point, you get into Fantasy Star Online and Universe and stuff like that. Those are more MMO games. And while they take elements from the first 4 games, I think most people would agree it's fair to say they aren't really like those very much. Um, they're just way too different. They kind of became their own thing after a while.
Yeah.
Um,
Because right now, if someone mentions Fantasy Star, I immediately think of Fantasy Star Online too. But that's just because of all the Sega stuff.
yes, exactly. If you're ever curious about playing the single player ones, there's 2 ways to go about it. Okay, you can either play 1 through 4 in order, just be prepared because yeah, some of those will have some pretty archaic RPG stuff,
Are
you
we
know.
are we are we talking like old school SMT archaic or worse than that?
Okay, they're a little bit. Honestly, what my recommendation is if you go that route, please just swallow every pride all your pride. Remember that these games were meant to have a strategy guide and just look up a strategy guide online. Because it makes
Oh,
the
they're
game.
guide game RPGs. Oh boy.
Yes, the first I'd say the first 3 definitely are, especially the first one. You definitely need a guide. Now, given once you have a guide, which there's actually a website called the Fantasy Star Cave, um, as well as some walkthroughs. If you have those by your side while playing the game, it's really easy to get through it pretty quickly. Because a lot of it is just like, where the hell do I go? Kind of stuff, you know?
Oh no. Oh, that's like the
So,
worst.
however, if you just want to play the best one and the cream of the crop and just kind of know that the others are connected in some kind of way, just play Fantasy Star 4. Just play
Okay,
that.
because that's the one that I'm interested in, but I didn't know if like, oh, maybe I should probably play the other ones.
No,
But
you don't have to. The others are cool and interesting, but 4 to me should be a required playing of anyone who likes JRPGs because number 1, it's not a guide game. In fact, weirdly enough, it feels super modern. Um, like it's it you if someone told you this came out like in the 2000s or something like that, and it just happened to have weird Genesis graphics, um, you probably would believe them. It even has like it has full on cutscenes, in the style of like comic book panels and stuff like
wow,
that.
that is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Then again,
Um,
the Genesis is a pretty impressive console. Like, I still look at Comic Zone and think, like, man, this is on the Genesis.
right. No, Genesis definitely was pretty impressive. But yeah, like story wise, you can play that one just fine. The only thing you have to know is like at some point, I won't spoil it. At some point in the game, there's like a reference to stuff in the past. But the game kind of explains it. So you don't really need to play the other ones. But fun fact, also, that game when it first came out, um, I believe cost over, I think it was $120 when it
Whoa.
first came out. Yes, because it would cost. That was the only way they're ever going to make any money back on it. It was pretty like I love, I love Final Fantasy. Okay, but to me, Fantasy Star 4 at that time, as far as like graphics and gameplay lost like story, I guess you could say, um was really ahead of Final Fantasy at that time, and then they kind of stopped after that. So
I mean, yeah, that's fair because I honestly think, well, I mean, 6 for Final Fantasy anyway. 6 is my personal favorite, but I would say it's generally 7 where the Final Fantasy series started to evolve and not just like
Mhm.
uh and not just like a story and narrative, but also presentation a lot. Which I mean, like, yeah, that's kind of like, yes, we get it, we know that already, but it's kind of interesting that this Genesis game that I've only heard slightly in passing before is like this good. And all right,
Yeah,
I'll definitely check it out
for
whenever
sure.
I finish Yakuza 7.
Yeah. Yeah, uh, highly recommend it. And I won't spoil it, but um, it technically did like the Final Fantasy, a main character dies thing, like 7 did, but it did before that.
Or you mean Chrono Trigger? Because that's what I think
Oh,
of.
that's true. That's
Hmm.
true. Yeah, yeah. So, but what have you been playing as of late?
Um, three things actually. That I want to say as of note. First up is Onimusha, the first Onimusha game. Finally got around to that. Like a couple weeks ago. Actually, as I was recording the last podcast, I was nearing the end of that. So that gives you the time frame of how much I've sit on this. And as of that, I've played the game twice.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it's one of those games. Well, I also missed a couple of extra stuff on my first run through. Not a whole lot, but it's like, oh, okay, so I'll just pick up a guide and go through it again. And man, that game is so good.
I was
Just
gonna ask. Um,
it, it takes a bit to get used to. It's basically the middle ground between something like Devil May Cry and Resident Evil. It's a more slower, methodical in certain aspects way than Devil May Cry, but it's not like a straight up horror game. It is an action game, like
mhm.
100%.
That sounds. I mean, that sounds pretty interesting. They've always been on my list of games to eventually play. I've just never gotten around to playing them. But I'll definitely make sure to them a try at some point.
Yeah, I
Um,
should mention though, small caveat. I played the most recent re-release, remaster, if you want to go with that term, uh, version, which is probably not the version even I would recommend, even though I played it now. Um,
mhm.
and the only reason is because the soundtrack was changed. I didn't know that
Mm.
at the time, and the original soundtrack sounds a lot better. Uh, and also, it doesn't come with a lot of the features that the Xbox original re-release of the first game had. Genma Onimusha, which I looked into Genma Onimusha, and I'm like, well, it has not only more content in there, but even like entirely new mechanics, uh, different
Oh,
armor sets, and it's like, why wasn't this implemented in the re-release? Like,
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. What?
yeah, Genma Onimusha though is considered to be a lot harder. Uh, so mileage may vary, but and if you're wondering if this game's going to be long, no, it's not a long game. My first playthrough, I believe, was 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a very short game. For sure. It's one of those games that's just it's very nice. Just kind of sit down and play for like a weekend. For sure. And I hear that the Onimusha 2 and Onimusha 3 are really good. Like they just improve everything. So I'll probably get around to those at some point. But yeah. Apparently Genma Onimusha though is pretty cheap to find. As long as you have as long as you have I think an Xbox 360. I don't know if it's compatible for everything, but I know it's compatible for the 360. But yeah, it's so weird that didn't end up getting the release.
Yeah, that's
if you legit have no other way to play it, then the re-release is not a bad port. It's just it's kind of lacking some things that you would expect for a re-release. So just thought I would give that caveat. But yeah, I found the combat to be very satisfying. The fixed cameras never caused me too much trouble, except in the optional kind of bloody palace mode that they had, where the arena was so small, and since there was only 2 camera angles depending on where you were, you would find yourself kind of lost when you have like 4 big guys just kind of crowd you, and you're like, okay, I can't see my character. What am I doing? But like that's like a challenge mode. It's like, okay, I get it. That's supposed to be like part of the challenge. And you do have like moves that are you have some pretty powerful AoE attacks, so it's manageable. I think it's the best way to say it. There is a little bit of jank, but it's manageable for sure. But yeah, I definitely do recommend it. Though after finishing that, I don't know what compelled me, but I'm like, hey, I never finished Neo 1. Remember that game?
Yes.
Yeah. So I picked it up again, and I want to say I'm halfway through it now. I wasn't expecting it to be as long of a game as it ends up being. Like I was surprised. And honestly, I think I might like it better than Dark Souls and the other Souls like games that I've played.
Really? That's pretty interesting. So I've played probably the first I don't know, I'm gonna say 5 hours of the game, 5-6 hours of the game. I keep meaning to go back to it at some point. 'Cause I think I got it through PlayStation Plus for free at
It
one point.
was free for PlayStation Plus. I do remember that.
But yeah, at some point I'll have to maybe I'll go back to it at some point then. Because I always forget about it. I get siesta one thing. I have so many random games, sometimes through PS Plus, sometimes through Steam sales, and then I'll forget about them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I started that game, and should probably go back and finish that at some point.
Yeah, I mean that's basically my situation too. And it's one of those that like you kind of gotta readjust how you play a Souls like game, because this one is not the flow of the combat is not exactly the same, and a lot of the flow will depend on which weapons you have, like greatly. Like getting like the way you will engage certain encounters with a sword is way different if you have like 2 swords. And everything has its own combos that you have to spend points to unlock and new moves. So basically, from even the start of the game, you kind of got to give, okay, so what are the 2 weapon types that I'm going to specialize in, and then stick with that.
I see.
I chose the standard sword because it's basically your go-to weapon and is pretty good for everything, and then the spear for long range, and I can say the spear is probably one of my favorites just because it has so many amazing it's just so many amazing attacks, and you can do some pretty fun acrobatic stuff with it. But yeah, the one thing that was a bit weird is that I found was the kind of Diablo-esque, I don't really know what else to call it, drop loot system where there are rare, epic, legendary versions of weapons that also have their own levels that are kind of scaled to you. Or sorry, not to you, to the level, because this is also a level by level, unlike other Souls games where they're all kind of connected. There is a distinct beginning and end to a level, and there are side missions that generally will recreate stages that you've been to, but you play it a bit differently, or is a small section of a stage, and it has a different objective that you do. So it entirely threw me for a loop when I actually got into the game, because I would say it starts off like you're very traditional for a Souls game, but once you finish that last mission and you realize, oh, this is a mission structure, then it changes everything.
And I think I remember thinking that actually, because I got, again, I don't remember how many hours I played, but I do remember that being kind of an interesting difference between it and Dark Souls. What's weird for me as well is like the 3 Souls-like games I've played. I've only beaten one though so far. Bloodborne, some of Neo, and then some of Dark Souls, all of which play super differently from one another.
Yep.
So that was I had to relearn everything every time. So that was kind of funny, but yeah.
I kind of got, honestly, that was my biggest hurdle when I decided, stupidly, mind you, and I decided to play Dark Souls 2. Oh my god, it took me forever to learn and unlearn stuff that I learned from the first game.
Yeah, I've heard that one's got a lot of different mechanics from the first
It
one.
also has the wonkiest hitboxes I've ever seen. And that's just, I don't know. I played the Scholar of the First Sin edition, so I don't know. Maybe the original version is better. At that, I'm not sure, but that's the version I played, and yeah, wow. I couldn't finish it. I still have yet to finish it. I don't know if I ever will.
I've heard from a lot of people. Again, I do not know the ins and outs of this, so just take my word for it, I guess. But or don't. I don't know.
Grain of salt mode activated. Yeah.
Yes. It seems like a lot of the Dark Souls fan base seems to think the second one is the worst of them. I've heard different reasons for why. I've not played it, so I don't really know exactly what they're talking about. If you know what I mean, like I get like, oh, okay, that's interesting, but I've not played it, so I don't even know what.
It's one of those that especially if you played the first game, the dip in quality is very noticeable. Like I would even say hour 1, you start to notice like, oh, this is a much different game.
Okay.
And I mean, it kind of makes sense because a lot of the development, or not a lot of development, but a lot of the main development leads for Dark Souls 1 were working on Bloodborne at that time. So it's basically the B team, quote unquote, that did Dark Souls 2. And Dark Souls 2 is one of those I think has a lot of interesting ideas. And I think it has a better area to explore because it kind of goes, it does away with the whole trying to be interconnected, and instead just kind of does whatever it wants. So literally you can go, so like you never exactly know what the next area will hold until you get there, and that's kind of fun. And but like when you're playing through it, it just feels like a slog more so than the other games. And But yeah, I do know a lot of people that like the game. But my stance on that is, if this is your favorite game, that's because you probably put 100+ hours into it and now know everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I just don't want to have that commitment for Dark Souls 2. If I'm not, because for me, if I'm not enjoying, I don't know, my first 10 hours, then I probably won't care about the game.
No, I mean, that's more than enough time to give the game, like, let it sink in, and
Mhm.
if it's not sinking in at that point, it's like,
I think at this point, I would. The only time if I ever decide to actually finish the game, I'm probably just going to stream it. That's like the only way that I could see myself
mhm.
basically forcing myself to finish it. But I don't want to do that. Not now. Anyway,
Before
the last game that I'll briefly talk about, which I guess kind of goes into the headline section because it literally came out less than a week ago, is Cyber Shadow. This is Yacht Club's newest. Well, I think they just published the game, but yeah, Yacht Club, you might know from Shovel Knight.
mhm.
They helped publish this game, Cyber Shadow. It came out. It's, if you have Game Pass on either PC or Xbox, then it's also included there, so that's nice. And it's pretty good, though I do have a few nitpicks.
Yeah, so I have no I've seen some of the gameplay of the game, stuff like that. I was gonna ask, what's your overall take on it then? It kinda looked a little bit like a callback to stuff like Ninja Gaiden and what have you.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, 100%. It is doing that, though nowhere near as hard, I should say.
Okay.
But yeah, it's nowhere near as hard as Ninja Gaiden. It's a lot more comfortable. It still has a good amount of challenge, which is one thing that I liked. There is a good amount of challenge, but there's always like a checkpoint near. And since you have, unlimited lives, dying's never really an issue. It's just learning to overcome that obstacle until you successfully do, and you move on to the next one. Um, which is
Mhm.
why I liked it for that. But my biggest problem is this kind of half-assed Metroidvania stuff that they tried to do.
Mhm.
Um, but then and then again, this is like super nitpick because I feel like this thing will not be a problem for the majority of people, but it kind of is for me. When I start up the game, I notice, okay, so if this it has this level structure. So I went through like the first couple levels, and I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. They're all like kind of connected. Then I realized about halfway through, oh, that's because I'm getting new upgrades, and they want me to go back to levels so I can get things that I missed. So I started doing that, but then I progressed to a point where I can't go easily back to other levels. And I was wondering, like, wait, no, but I got like 4 different upgrades, and there's not a teleporter, so I can't go back and to those levels. And then I realized, no, that's because they want to wait till literally end game and then have you go through all the levels again to get 100%.
Oh, I
And I'm
see.
like, oh, why? And again, that's probably just because of how I play Metroidvanias, where it's like, oh, if I get a cool power up and I remember something, I want to immediately go back there. And the game doesn't allow you to do that. Uh,
Hmm.
a lot, I would say, in the beginning it does, but I would say after the halfway point, you're basically stuck until you get to the end game, which is chapter 9 and the final chapter. And but everything before that you can go back to, and there's new pathways and different stuff for different challenges that's all optional. Then you're probably going to do it anyway. But yeah, I just found that really annoying and kind of not needed. I think that's my biggest thing. It didn't feel like, the exploration in this sort of way was really needed. I feel like if it was just stage to stage, then and streamlined, I would have probably enjoyed it a little bit better. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Cyber Shadow. Pretty fun game, and I'd recommend it. It's not too much, especially if you have Game Pass. Hey, there you go. With that all said, let's get into the headlines. Hey, so you know that Not Knights game apparently has a demo.
Yeah, it does.
I apologies if I butcher the name, but I believe it's pronounced Balan or Banlan. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Ballan. Ballan. Yeah, I believe it's Ballan.
Oh, he ballin'.
Yeah, Ballin Wonderland. Um,
Wonder World.
have you had the chance to play it yet?
Yes, I actually have.
What did you think
The
of
Switch version, because I wanted to see how well it would handle on the Switch, and I mean, yeah, definitely handles, but oh boy. Okay, well, I should probably get this out of the way. Yeah, I don't know what to think of it. The demo wasn't really selling me on the game. That could just be because 3D platformers, especially collectathon stuff, which it was kind of doesn't necessarily jive with me the most. Because I tend to like my platformers fast. But that's besides the point. I feel like though this game does have an audience. I just don't know how big it is.
See, here's from my perspective, right? I really love 3D platformers, and I even really like collectathons. That being said, this game seems really boring to me. I'm gonna be really honest.
Okay, good. Okay, see, I thought it was just me. I legit thought it was just me.
No,
that like, and this isn't jiving with me. But it's like, oh, it's probably fun for people that like really like this gameplay loop. But
so okay, so a positive. Okay, I think some of the ideas and some of the things like it, some of it looks kind of like it could be cool. I mean, it's if like knights type stuff. The two things that kind of stick out to me is I'm not that big a fan of the current aesthetic of it. And that's more of a personal thing. Something about it feels very plastic or something.
Oh yeah, sure. Like 100%.
It just doesn't quite seem like it's not almost like it's not quite finished. Almost. And maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's just an artistic choice, but sometimes like that seems weirdly early or something. Uncooked, you might even say.
Yeah, that is the thing too, because I was noticing that the demo doesn't seem like it's like it feels like I'm playing it in alpha.
Yes.
A lot of points. And I don't know if that is just because, maybe this is like a really early demo, but at this point, it's a little concerning.
It is. The other thing is, and this is a big stickler for me, the biggest, funnest part to me with 3D platformers is you have to make it fun to move and explore. It needs to be fun on its face to move. And then, why you want to keep going. I won't go into a million examples, but like Mario 64 is an example. Like you got all these different jump variations and like kicks and slides and things like that.
Or even like A Hat in Time with all of its different hat powers and ways of moving and fun platforming challenges.
Exactly. Even stuff like Spyro. You have like the gliding thing. He has like head bashes and charge jumps. There's all sorts of and then of course Sonic as well. But point is
we're gonna talk about that.
Okay, yes, we're gonna get to that in a minute. But point is, Ball in Wonderland has one jump button. It's every button. Every button's the jump button. And I don't know why that's the case. But it's like something about it so it's either that's just literally it. Every button's the jump button because you can just jump. You can get like power-ups or you can put on these costumes and jump in a new way, I guess.
Yeah, that's literally all it is. It's like, oh sweet, I got like this werewolf thing. It has like claws. We get like some combat. No jump.
Yes,
you just jump.
It's just literally jump, and either it's meant to be a really very young kids game, which because it feels a little, I don't know, I don't know how to put it. It feels weird that that's the only thing you can do. Even as platformers are defined by being able to jump, there's usually more you can do than jump. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that's why I classify this as a game that as this ain't for me, fam. It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's just like, but like that's the thing is I'm wondering if there is at least some audience for this that doesn't see the fact that that all you can do is jump a serious problem. It is kind of for me, because it's like I like more variety.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. It's why I like Mario Galaxy a lot, because there's more to it than just jumping.
Yes.
And the level design makes that interesting. For this one, it's like, I don't know. I just don't know.
No, it's not for me either. It just seems like maybe like you say, maybe there is an audience for it, but right now I'm not seeing one, especially if it's like supposed to appeal. If it's just appealing to kids, maybe they won't mind. Maybe it'll be fine. If it's appealing to like anyone else, I'm sure someone else likes it, but I just don't know anyone else that does. So.
Exactly. I don't know. I don't know. Oh well. Anyway, moving on. New news.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of oxymoron, but whatever. Judgment, or Judge Eyes, if you're a weeb, is getting next gen ports to the PS5 and also Xbox Series X and /S, whatever, and also Stadia.
Oh,
for some reason.
Yeah, I wonder what.
It's coming next year. Will Stadia even be a thing next year? I have no idea. Probably not.
Probably not. No.
It'll be the last game released on Stadia.
It might, because not to get off topic, but I know Stadia, like Google made some kind of public statement just recently about, yeah, we're not shutting down Stadia, but basically we're done with it. So,
oh, that's like the Google thing.
Yeah.
When it's like, yeah, we know Google Plus. Yeah, we're not shutting it down. It's just gonna like not do anything and then shut it down later.
Yes, yeah. So that'll basically be it. So it's dead. We're just waiting for them to bury it, I guess, at this point.
Exactly. But Judgment is the non Yakuza game. Because it's made from the same devs, and I like to classify it as it's a game that I feel is more geared towards the Western audience and doesn't have like an audience that doesn't have to play. It's like if the whole fact of getting into Yakuza is a little bit daunting because you've heard how long the games tend to be. There's a lot of them. Then you can play this one because it's pretty. It's a pretty self-contained story. It has a lot of the same gameplay elements, and it's by the same team. And so, if you like that, then you like the Yakuza games. That's generally where it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was PS4 exclusive. And now I guess it's coming to Xbox Series X. Though, given the fact that Yakuza 7 is also on that, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So no PC version, which is very interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my god, why did they put it to Stadia over
No, see, it is on PC. It's on Stadia. That counts, right? Yeah, it's PC, guys. Man, I can't wait for all the streamers to stream a streamed game.
Oh my god, and I didn't even think of that. That would be what a disaster at that point. Oh my god.
Such a disaster. It's truly the Sonic Genesis of its time.
Yes.
So yeah, just a little bit of a PSA in case you guys don't know about that. It's just pretty cool. Be on the lookout for it. Anyway, speaking of actually big news that's important,
Yeah.
we got a lot of Sonic stuff that's just like boom, 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 boom.
It's
like all
dropping 'em
this.
at this point.
Well, I guess they're trying to make up for lost time. So let's go at least say the first one. Roger Craig Smith is no longer going to be the voice of Sonic. And apparently so is there's rumor that the current VA for Tails will no longer be the current VA. But I mean, like, Tails' voice actor changes like almost every other game.
Yeah, that's not even like a shocker, that one. I mean, yeah, this news is definitely very interesting. I guess it's like it's weird. You can almost like look at Sonic eras like by their voice actors at this point now. Like it's because they change up to that degree. So I guess this would put
They really do. You're right about that. Like they really do.
So like now this would be about a decade of Roger Craig Smith. And you know, when it comes to voice actors and stuff like that, like whichever voices, of course I have my favorites or whatever. I know some people are very, very opinionated about the voice actors of Sonic. I am not as opinionated. I will admit that Roger Craig Smith was probably not it wasn't my personal favorite for Sonic, but you know,
he fit the Boom cartoon like perfectly.
Yeah,
I will say
he
that.
did.
I feel like that was like, yeah, but I also kind of feel like it was more written around that.
It was for sure. You could definitely tell.
It wasn't really I honestly think I hate to bring up this game again, but Sonic Forces was probably his worst.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I agreed. Yeah, it was. Because like, yeah,
and okay, and to his credit, I think half of that was the script.
Yeah.
So to be fair here,
a lot of it was because like it was kind of like a combo. Roger Craig Smith, sometimes it depends on like the mood he's going for. Sometimes he does kind of like, you can tell like the script. It's just like my personal favorite one in Sonic Forces, which to me, I don't know what they were going for with it, was when they're like facing Robotnik and he's like, "We're just gonna take you down like and beat you." I forget what the thing was, but it was like just like all the other times where you failed so badly. I don't know, something about it was.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that now.
It just came out so. It's like, is that the best take?
It's okay. It's like what we needed after that line is like Tails cringing.
Yes, we did.
It's like it's that type of line where like it's not actually supposed to be funny, but it's taken like it is funny, and it just throws me out of it.
It is.
So yeah, no, listen. He tried to make it work. He tried. I was like, okay, I'm reading this. This is what we're doing. But yeah, no, I honestly think that Roger Craig Smith is like for me anyway, because I'm also not really super opinionated for the voice actors. But I think he's perfectly fine. It's just the script often fails him. That I think tends to be the thing. A lot of the time.
Yes.
But now we have this whole debate of who's going to be the new VA, and it's like, wow, man.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's a lot.
I've been seeing a lot of people going through like different options and like different. You know, there's a surprising amount that could work, so I'd be open to whatever. I know a lot.
It also just kind of depends on the tone of whatever they're going to do for the new game.
It definitely does. Um, like and that I guess will kind of remain to be seen whenever they finally do like announce new game stuff. Um,
Yeah, because I always associate like Jason Griffith with the more serious toned Sonic,
mhm.
even though you technically say that could be Ryan Drummond, but I feel like Ryan Drummond tends to have a little bit more snark
Yes.
than Jason Griffith.
Mhm.
Um,
No, for sure.
but
I definitely agree. Um, so whatever they're going for next, I mean, it should be interesting. And honestly, I mean, same like part of the same headline is the fact that they also are changing the writers now.
well, as of we know from this moment, I'll give that little caveat, asterisk. As of what we know, the Happy Tree Friends writers are definitely not going to be a part of the writing team anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. But I'm not sure about the whole writing team. I know that they gotten a lot of new people recently
Yes.
too. Which is nice because this you kind of need some fresh blood.
No, for sure. They definitely did. And I feel like getting fresh blood in there for like it's a good way to keep a series going sometimes. You just get some fresh ideas. Um so I'm interested to see what kind of take they want to do with it. And as far as like the two popular ones of Sonic voices, um I know a lot of people want Ben Schwartz from the movie, and I don't know if that's going to happen. Um,
It's one of those I can see it, but like I don't know if that's the direction they want to go.
right.
Like maybe they want to distance themselves from the film a bit because they're Sega.
Yes. Like it could if it came down to it. I know that the actor likes playing him, and I know that like it wouldn't be uncommon. It'd just come down to if that's what Sega really wants.
It really is just coming down to what Sega wants.
Someone else that's in the same library of like people that like voice stuff over there is I forget his name, so I'm sorry. I'll try to remember next time. The guy who voices Ryuji in
Yes,
Persona 5.
Max. I forget his last name, but
A
yeah.
lot of people like put his voice and then they put like a pictures of Sonic. Like, yeah, I could see him voicing Sonic. That's that I could see that being a decent option. Um, but yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to wait and see. Um, I suppose most of I'm gonna take a wild guess and say a lot of the voices might be changed. Maybe
Oh, for sure.
except for maybe Robotnik's. I mean, they could. I just don't know if they would.
Mike Pollock, man, he's been voicing Eggman for longer than I think any other U.S. voice actors is voicing a Sonic character.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He's just that good.
He is, and so like I feel like at this point he is the character at this point. So weirdly enough, the change would be much more jarring with him at this point versus anyone else.
Oh, would be super jarring.
So I feel like he might have one of those rare voice acting jobs where he will probably only be replaced when either A, he retires, or B, he passes away. So
Well, okay, because it's funny. You mentioned that because he has actually stated. I don't remember if it's on his Twitter or to interview. But I know he stated in the past that every time there's a new Sonic game, he has to audition for Eggman. So I'm wondering if that's still the case now. I don't know. They could have changed. Maybe they were like, yeah, I don't need to audition anymore. We're pretty locked in for this.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he was able to sign like a contract. But I know that was a thing.
That's
for Sonic Forces, I think he was saying that too. That like, oh yeah, I had to audition.
That's interesting.
Eggman. So it's just like, okay, that they just can't find anyone else as good,
right,
or better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah. Anyway, speaking of things that we will probably see, well, at least I will see because it's me. Sonic Prime.
Oh yes.
Not Sonic Amazon Prime. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
So this is a Netflix show that we know something about, I think.
Right. So like according to Netflix and like I guess some people associated with it, they said that it's supposed to be 24 episodes and that it's supposed to be more of a action adventure type show. Um that'll like have like a multi-dimensional story of sorts. I don't know exactly how that's going to be worked in, but you know, it's Sonic. There's always some way they can do that.
Yeah, that's no stranger to Sonic stories. I refer back to the comics that literally pull that stunt
Yeah,
so many times.
they do. They love that like writing quirk. They do.
And before you guys me like, oh, is that like a Ken Penders era thing? No, it's before Ken Penders.
No, it was from the like freaking the beginning
from
of
the beginning.
Yeah.
Never forget Evil Sonic.
No,
that was like a classic villain.
Mm-hmm. So like, and they said, okay, so like this is the part that gets me the most interested of all that. Okay, well, the action part too, because I was hoping they'd make an action Sonic show again.
Yay.
Nothing against Sonic Boom. I think it definitely had its place. But I was like, oh man, I wish that we could have an action Sonic show sometime. Like or again. But like apparently it's supposed to be a show about Sonic's like finding himself and redemption.
Yeah, it said it's a story about redemption. Now, I don't know if that's going to be Sonic's redemption or a different character that they may do. Like, again, because we don't know a lot about this other than this just got announced and it's going to be on Netflix. The release window that we have is 2022. Sometime in 2022, which I think is reasonable. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Probably get it mid is what I'm thinking. But yeah, I think the fact is that we don't know a lot about it is a little concerning because at this point I just want to know, okay, what type of Sonic are you going to be writing? Because I feel like that's the thing. Because this could be an entirely new interpretation, which is kind of what I think it's going to be. I feel like this is going to be like a totally different version of Sonic. And the reason why I think that is because the main people behind it is Man of Action, which you might know from Ben 10.
Yes.
Or you might also know from Big Hero 6. Or more recently, that Mega Man show that nobody liked. And that's why it's concerning, because it's like, oh, are they going to do the same thing?
Right.
They're going to make
and that could definitely be a problem. I know now I know this is more distribution stuff, I guess. I know Wild Brain is also involved, and if you're not familiar, they own all the rights to all the Sonic cartoons at this point.
oh yeah.
Which for some people they actually because it's going through the different dimensions, some people are perhaps hoping anyway that there would be like episodes that reference older Sonic cartoons.
Oh my god, there's a freaking Sonic I was say Sonic Unleashed, but no, not Unleashed. Sonic Underground.
Yeah.
One, and it's but like it doesn't end.
Yeah, it's like
that'd be the best deep cut.
So like Sonic Underground, Sonic Sat-AM, Sonic Adventures of Sonic, Sonic Boom. It's all the Sonics. It's the Sonic into the Sonic verse.
Dude, what if we're gonna have Sonic X version, but he brings in the Space Gundams?
Okay, I mean that'd be pretty cool. I mean,
yeah, man, that arc is simultaneously the worst and best thing to ever happen to Sonic X.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds definite. Like to me, this is pitch anyway. Has me very interested. Obviously, a lot remains to be seen. I'll probably getting some visuals to go with these ideas will help a lot as well.
Yeah, I think once we have some more information, which who knows, by the time this podcast will come out, there might be like sketches like, oh, here's some art.
I know, right?
You know?
So just
And
like,
I'm like, oh, great, this is outdated.
yeah,
But
right.
regardless, it is gonna be. I think as we get closer, we'll probably get a better idea of what the show's gonna entail, for definite. And I just hope it's good because Sonic kind of needs good stuff.
He does. He really
Yeah.
does. You know, of course, they could say this and it means nothing. They said that the show was targeted towards not just kids, but legacy Sonic fans. Which is a nice way of saying adults that like Sonic. So
Yeah, adults that like Sonic. Yeah, you know.
So
You're not an adult, you're a legacy human.
yes. It's very, very polite way of recognizing us, I guess.
All our legacy gamers rise up.
So I'll be interested. Yeah, and okay, random thing. This could mean literally nothing, but I saw it on Twitter today, so I figured I'd just say it. With the Sonic, we have seen the logo for it for Sonic Prime. There's something interesting with that, and that's like the Sonic logo is like shattered, which it could mean nothing, but there actually is. Sega has certain rules when it comes to distribution of Sonic stuff, like really strict rules. Some of them being
yeah,
really dumb, and one of them is specifically, or it was anyway, you cannot like do anything to the Sonic logo. You can't like.
Oh wow, I actually did not know that.
Yes, so it's one of those like ultra like what the hell? Okay. But the fact that it's shattered might, I mean, okay, it could mean nothing, but it might mean that Sega maybe changed their mind with some of that stuff, which would be for the good because a lot of those like things are really dumb. Like,
hey, you remember the rule that male Sonic characters can't wear pants?
Like, there's like a rule too where it's like, Sonic characters are not allowed to show too strong of an emotion.
Oh right, yeah. Which is baffling to me because I'm like, okay, but then you made 06.
Yeah, can we like? Don't make that rule. That's a dumb rule. Come on. Don't you want to see Sonic get pissed?
yeah. Or don't you want a Sonic that's more like the OVA, where he was freaking emotional? That
yes, exactly. So, but yeah, I just figured I'd share. Could mean nothing. Could mean a little something, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, and also something I should probably mention. Given that it is somewhat related, since it's about Netflix shows. Remember all those like? Remember the Legend of Zelda Netflix show that was like leaked?
Yes, I know.
Apparently, that's canceled now.
Yes.
And also like a few other ones that Nintendo was apparently planning. And they're citing the reason is because it was leaked, which I doubt that that's the reason, but I don't know.
So
that's interesting.
I hope that's on some level. I hope it's not real, although because one of the shows was a Star Fox show. It's going to be like a claymation. It was going to be like they described it as Fantastic Mr. Fox, but Star Fox. So like claymation animation stuff, which sounds super cool. I'm hoping that was a lie, although considering, does anyone remember back when Smash Bros? I think it was the fourth one was supposed to have a story, and then it all got leaked online, and so they literally decided they weren't going to have it in the game after that.
Oh yeah. Wow, I forgot about that. Oh man, yeah. Then this could be okay.
So there is some credence to this, and if it's so, it's like, man, could you just like let's not be that petty?
Come on.
That wasn't in my.
That's like, oh yeah, this is Nintendo. They're pretty petty.
Like, I would have bought the Blu-ray discs of all those shows, man. You just I had to do it.
Man, you know, because honestly, what I would love is a show, a Star Fox show in the same style that they did that awesome short for Star Fox Zero.
Oh yeah, like I'd like that as well. If they did something like that,
Mm-hmm.
that'd also be really good.
Yeah. Also, Star Fox Zero got that. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, they went all out for that game, and it sold like crap because it was on the Wii U, and it got
yeah. It's sad because like I know people have a lot of criticisms of the game, but a big portion to why it didn't sell is because it was on the Wii U.
Yeah,
but that literally is.
It's a shame. But yeah,
it'll be the last Star Fox game we get. Anyway, so speaking of games, Resident Evil 8, we got from the last time that I talked about Resident Evil 8, we actually got a demo for the game. That's interesting. If I had a PS5 and such, I would probably have played the demo, but I don't. So I just looked up a playthrough because that's how it is now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's Resident Evil 7 again. But entirely different setting and a lot more production value.
I mean, I haven't seen the demo yet, and also I could not play it because I don't have a PS5 either. Like most people at this point. But
like the majority.
But I mean, that sounds good. Because I liked Resident Evil 7. So, if it's more of that with like more monster like variety, and
well, I mean, now we got a 9-foot tall woman chasing you, so
yeah.
Be that as it may be.
Yeah. I trust me, I know about that because before I even watched the trailer.
Are you sure you know about that? Maybe I should like tell you again. I don't know.
Because it's like I think half of Twitter was thirsty for her, so I'm pretty sure. I think there is in fact a 9-foot Amazon vampire. Like it's just ready to suck you dry. So,
damn.
Yeah.
And Ethan, the protagonist, is only 5'11", apparently.
Oh, well.
So there you go. He still has no face, though. It's still just a shadow. Which is honestly like the funniest thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, we know he's white. We know he has blonde hair, but after that's it. We don't know.
Maybe face reveal at the end of the game.
Guys, if we get a million players, I'll do a face reveal. Yeah. Honestly, though, I could see them pulling that at the end of Resident Evil 8. They'll do like a face reveal, and then everyone will be pissed.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of faces, at least they finally fixed Chris.
Yeah. Chris is really fucking weird because it feels like he's changing like every game. He's like got a different face and body and yeah.
It's the viruses. They've changed him.
Yeah, I guess so.
If this was Metal Gear, I could just say, "Oh, it's nanomachines," and people would buy it.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh well. I hope he will punch a boulder and then it actually doesn't break. He's like, I've grown weaker.
Yeah, but like it looks like a pretty fun game thus far. Um,
Yeah, and I am one of those people that really enjoyed 7 as well.
mhm.
I thought it did a lot of things good, and I know it's not I know it's not a traditional Resident Evil game, but there is still a lot of that DNA in there.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like 8 from the the demo that I watched, it is looking to be like that same. Like there, you can tell there is still classic Resident Evil DNA in there. It's just approached differently.
Mhm. Sure, yeah.
Kind of like how 4 was.
Yeah, it's just
If you're
yeah,
gonna go through that.
exactly, yeah. Which I know right now that's like the other thing people are just waiting for is for them to just get it over with and just say, yes, Resident Evil 4 is here's the remake. Um,
God, if they're gonna make that game, then they have a massive amount of okay. Honestly, here's the thing though. If they are gonna make that game, I think it's a massive undertaking. I personally wouldn't do it.
no,
I don't think it's
I don't,
that smart of an idea.
I don't think it is either. I think it's a good way of pissing a lot of people off for no good reason.
Now, Code Veronica. Now you could do Code Veronica though.
Mhm.
I think that has more merit to remake that game.
Sure. Mhm.
That's a lot of people did not play that,
Mhm.
and it also has probably one of the most annoying Resident Evil characters ever.
Mhm.
One just I always forget the dude's name, but the one just keeps hitting on Claire throughout the whole freaking game.
Yeah, I know when you're talking about. I forget his name as well.
Because it doesn't matter because he sucks.
Mhm.
Who cares? So yeah, if they actually make him like a very compelling character, then yeah, I think it could be great. So do that. That's all I'm asking. Capcom is still on their redemption arc, so
Yeah,
now we'll just see.
they've been doing pretty good for a while now, so pretty.
That's surprisingly good. Oh yeah, especially since like, isn't Monster Hunter also one of Capcom's things?
Yes.
Yeah, and like Rise is coming out
Oh yeah.
sometime this year too. So I know that a lot of people are hyped about that too. So like, yeah, man, Capcom has been doing really great.
Mhm.
Wow, man. Can we get some of that for the Sonic now?
Yeah, let's please. I'm hoping like it's looking like we're getting something new and fresh. Let's just hope the new and fresh is good. That's all I want is good. It can be anything, Sega. It can be anything. It just has to be good, please. That's all anyone wants. Okay.
Lost World 2.
No!
Ooh. Ooh. Oops. But yeah, anyway, so Warner Brothers, the people that the film people, they also have games, and apparently a lot of their games that are in development are going to be live services. Crap.
Yeah.
There goes that now I should say the only exception that we know, well, they have at least put a statement out that the one that is the furthest along in development, Gotham Knights, which is set after Arkham Knight and follows the Bat family after Batman's quote unquote death. Looks like that won't be a live service, but the other ones will.
Well, that is a shame. Yeah, that doesn't really spell anything well for me personally. Because
That's one. I just want another fun Arkham game, man. Man, I remember when like Asylum and City, especially City, was new. Yeah, that got so much hype.
yeah, and like I'm assuming that also means because I think I might be one of the only people that are somewhat interested in it still. the Harry Potter game they're making. I'm guessing that's gonna
Oh
be a
yeah,
live service
that.
as
Yeah.
well.
Oh man. Yeah, that's also going to be live service too.
Yikes. Okay, well,
So,
okay, that's
and then it. Okay. Well, I was going to make the joke, and then it doesn't sell like any copies, but no, it will.
no, I mean, that's the thing is like live services are one of those things where it's not like infamous enough of a term where people won't like a lot of people still buy those games.
Mm-hmm.
They just the problem is just like give it a couple weeks and then people will start getting kind of angry. Because it's just like, okay.
The problem, see, I've always said that live service is a fine model. You just got to use it right, and it's not been used right, like at all.
Like, no, nah, hasn't. Cause
Mhm.
like a big problem too is, okay, like a channel. I'm gonna plug this as like a thing because I think they're very good, and it's like it's weirdly giving me a lot of perspective on live service and MMOs. It's called Nerd Slayer. Basically makes a series called Death of the Game. Which
Okay.
mostly focuses on MMOs and live service games and like how they eventually die. And I tell you what, they die like for the same reasons all the time. Like there's usually just like one or two reasons why, and they all screw it up the same way. It turns out it's because those games are super expensive to maintain and super like difficult to like. It has to be a concerted effort on all parts, all engines going constantly.
Oh yeah, that's why Anthem failed so bad. I mean, a lot of other things too, but like, oh man.
Yeah. Like literally Anthem's one of the games that was on the Death of the Game show as well. So it's like it's a very difficult service to maintain, but like everyone like a lot of developers sell it like this is going to be big because potentially it has the potential to be one of the biggest, coolest like game things out there. But there's like a very select few people that actually like can succeed at doing it.
For sure.
So yeah.
And I think that's honestly why whenever I hear there's going to be a live service model is just oh. And the problem with these is when you have a lot of games that end up being like that, then it's you got to pick and choose.
Yeah.
And the idea is we're going to have this one game that we'll keep pumping out content for. That's a fine enough strategy, but the problem is the base game is almost never good.
No.
And that's like I feel like the biggest problem with a lot of these, and it's why I'm weary because I'm like because like I see like maybe if Anthem was a full on like this is a great game from start to finish, and then it just happened to get new stuff later, it might have been good.
Yes. Actually, yeah.
But
like if the live service thing meant because usually, yeah, you're right. Like mostly it means we have about 10 hours of gameplay on the game right now, but there will be more in the future. But you're paying $60 for that right now.
For the promise, you're paying for the not even promise, but you're paying for the hope.
Yes,
that you'll get more out of it later. So at that point, it's like, why even spend the $60 or 70?
Exactly. Like to me, it should be. Yes, it's a full finished game, beginning, middle, and end, everything. But there's an expanse of stuff where they can keep adding stuff in the future. That would be a better idea. Or alternatively, if you're really just selling 10 hours of gameplay, I feel like a better like at the very least sell it for $40 or something. Say like,
yeah, because that's also the thing too. Is then when more of the game is out, maybe like a year after, and if people are still playing it, then you could say, oh, here's the complete
yeah,
or the year one release, and that's like full 60.
Yes, Hmm.
Hmm.
That at least would seem a little more fair because that's closer to the price range. Like your like value to I know like it's a subjective thing sometimes, but when the game's like clearly like none of it is there, we just have like building pieces and nothing else, which some of them literally are just that. Like that, I paid for a like almost a beta sometimes. Some of these live services, because they a lot of times they're like full of bugs and problems as well. Um, so yeah, it's
Never forget Fallout 76.
yeah, and oh yeah, in that case, it was like we got a super early, completely bugged out beta, um, almost verging on alpha, and everyone and people paid $60 for it. Oops. Um,
They're still promising stuff for it, and I'm like, it's dead.
yeah,
It's dead. It's just abandoned ship.
yeah, yeah. Like,
Please, just abandon ship. Listen, okay. You have both Obsidian and Bethesda that are like underneath Xbox, Microsoft now. So we could get like a New Vegas 2. So I feel like if you really want to get the Fallout audience back, make a make it just make a New Vegas 2 at this point.
mm-hmm,
I'm pretty sure the fans will be like, yeah, okay, we'll forgive you for that,
mm-hmm.
blunder.
Yeah, like, no, for sure. Just like definitely model a new Fallout game after New Vegas for sure. If they do that, and yeah, just stop focusing on freaking 76. Focus on like your other games and like maybe having Elder Scrolls 6 be a good game and come out within the next span of lifetime.
Well, like they've purposely said that, oh no, this is supposed to be a next gen when they even announced it. And when they announced it, I think it was a Cyberpunk situation where they announced that this is a thing that's happening before they even like started development.
Yes.
Which is like, just like, you never do that. You never do that. Even content creators will never do that.
No, you can't do that. It's a good way of like really disappointing people later on and like keeping that. It's all they're going to ask you for years after that. It's like every time
that is.
they're going to be anticipating, when am I going to see this game again? And if it's years, then every time you have a show, it's going to be a little disappointing to people because they're expecting the big thing. So yeah. Oh
well. Anyway, that's our rant on games.
yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what else to call this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is generally the podcast. It's just a series of mini rants.
Yeah, just rants and thoughts, I guess, on current day video game.
Well, with that all said, I do want to thank you for coming on to the podcast, Dylan.
No.
This was very, very fun. I'm glad we got to talk about Sonic again because I haven't had a Sonic focused one since the film.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's almost a year.
Wow.
It's almost a year old.
That's crazy.
I still need to get the Blu-ray eventually for the memes, but I have a poster of it in my room. It's kind of small though, but I do, and I feel like that's enough for now.
Yeah, for sure.
God, what am I doing? Anyway, but yeah, make sure to check out Dylan's YouTube channel, Twitter, and like other stuff. You have other stuff? I think you have other stuff.
Yeah, like two other random things I've not random, but like two other things I've added. I've also added a Minds account, which I'm going to be honest, on social media, I'm not the most active person. I do post, but if you want updates to my videos and what have you, and other little random things I make, feel free to follow me on either one of those. And then I've also just recently started a Patreon for my channel, which well, don't go there unless you watch my channel at first, because I mean you don't want to.
Well, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I got like different prizes and different things for people if you're interested in that. To help towards growing the channel and uh, my creative stuff.
Make some more of those long ass documentaries. Yeah,
Yes.
boy. Let's go.
For sure.
All right. With that said, thank you all for listening into the podcast. I hope you all have a fantastic day, night, evening, maybe, if it's that time for you. I don't know. But regardless, hope you all stay safe, stay sane, and take care.